Hi there, welcome to Frames Team for another episode. Now, this episode is special to me because I get to talk about some of my favorite stuff here. Now, whenever we talk about the Nikon system, it's actually very important to talk about the Nikon lenses because that is one area where Nikon has been innovating and how. And a lot of you are actually, now that the Z9 is out, the Z8 is out, there's going to be a Z6 III soon. There's going to be a crop sensor, XP7 body soon, and possibly a Z8 as well, ZF as well. You will be looking at making a transition from your F mount lenses to the Z mount lenses, or at least the ones that work very well with the Z mount. So I'm going to keep that perspective in mind when I talk about it. Okay. As we all know, if you have noticed, there's a lot of adulation over the 24 to 120 f4 lens from Nikon, and that is an amazing lens. Having said that, I still love Nikon's 24 to 70 f4, and I actually never felt like upgrading to the 24 to 70 2.8. I've been thinking about it recently, but this lens has done such a great job of helping me shoot in most situations that I really didn't mind. Now, what's the difference between 2.8 and f4? There is a one-stop difference in light, and there's a little bit of difference in bokeh. If you look at the Fuji system, for example, they have a 16 to 50, I think, 2.8. The f4 on a full frame will give you a similar kind of bokeh. So in terms of bokeh and background blur, it's almost the same as a 2.8 on a crop sensor. The way you can push the modern Nikon bodies in terms of ISOs, you can really shoot up to 3200 easily without any real problem when you get to editing. So I think f4 is not a problem for the most part. But this is weather sealed, this is very light. I mean, for 24 to 70, this is really light. Typically take out the 24 to 70 f4 and then have a 50 mm or a 40 mm, something like that, or 35 mm or something like that. So I absolutely love this lens for its versatility. That's how the 24 to 70 rolls. But I like it because it's optimum usage. It's not too costly. The money that I save by not buying the 2.8, it can be put into making purchases of the primes. So now let me get to the primes. By the way, this lens is tremendously sharp. It can resolve a 46 megapixel sensor, so no worries about that. No worries there. This is an amazing lens. Okay, let me go to the next one. My next favorite lens, and again, it's a very attainable lens. It's not very expensive. Is a 51.8. This 51.8. This is, look, I have used a 51.2 from Nikon extensively. If you have the 51.2, you're going to go try and reach out for that 51.2 over this. But once you've used this, you will never feel that you actually need a 51.2. Yes, the autofocus on a Z6 and a Z6 II could be a little lacking, especially on this lens. But on a Z9, on a Z8, or any of the next cameras, and even on a ZSC, okay, or a Z30, this lens is amazing. It's very fast to autofocus. It's quiet. It's good for video. I'll show, of course, as I go along, I'll keep sharing pictures. This lens is a fantastic lens. This is the second lens I bought, and for me, it's almost 3 years old. Okay, so it's a definite must buy. It is compared with some of the Zeiss lenses. I don't know if anyone has a 50 of this quality. I don't think anyone has a 50 of this quality. This lens can be bought second hand within $300 so it's very affordable, and it is really a bargain lens. In fact, if you don't want to buy the 24 to 70 f4, it's fine. If you want to buy a camera in the Z system and you want to have one lens, just one lens, it is this lens. It's brilliant. Okay, now next, as an alternative, if you want to have cheaper alternative, I will show you what alternative there can be for the 50. But before that, let me go to the 35mm focal length, which is my another favorite focal length. Okay, now you'll be surprised, I am actually shooting this on the 35 1.8. It's a very sharp lens. It's not a perfect lens, and the rendition of the 35 1.8 Z is the it's almost clinically perfect, but I feel that nervousness in the bokeh. I feel there's a little bit of aberration here and there, very little, but I never felt it to be as good as the 51.8. Okay, and I always wanted a little more light, a little more depth of field, shallow depth of field. So my favorite, and I suggest this, that you go for the Tamron 35mm 1.4. This is a special edition lens where Tamron launched about 3 years back. It's a stupendously good lens. It is a stupidly good lens. Okay, I have used this. When I use this with Z6 II or Z50 or Z6, the autofocus is a struggle. You have to be very deliberate. You have to be patient with autofocus. This lens is heavy also. You have to use a FTZ adapter. But all that is fine. This is what the experience, the pictures are worth it. Okay. With the Z8 and the Z9, this lens is blazing fast. There is no problem using this lens. I was thinking of actually, selling this off and buying, just using the money to buy something else. And I realized this lens, once I have the Z8, I'm not going to part with this lens. This is an amazing lens. Okay. So this is definitely a favorite for me. This is a great travel lens. This is a great portrait lens. I often use it for video. This does very well for video. Today I'm not using this lens for video. It's a very simply made lens, very, very well made lens. Okay, very, very well made lens. Premium quad lens, Tamrons. The only Tamron prime that I would suggest, and the only Tamron prime that just it competes with all of these Z mount lenses. Yes, it can probably resolve around 35 megapixel sensor, not exactly 46, but it's very close. Unless you really zoom in 200% or 300%, you will not see the lack of detailed pixels there. So this is my third recommendation, a strong must buy, and it's also very inexpensive if you want to use. A lot of people are actually discarding their f-mount lenses. It's an opportunity to pick up this bad boy. Okay, and also it's a third party f-mount lens, so a lot of people actually, okay, first f-mount and then second is a third party lens, let me not keep it. A lot of people are dropping it. Great time to keep it, cheap and to never part ways with it. This is an amazing lens. Okay, now if you don't want to spend so much money and you want something in between, you want the taste of 50 but not exactly, the taste of 35 but not exactly, this is the bonus lens, the 40mm f2. It's a plastic mount lens, but it's very, very well made. It's almost been 2 years that I've been using this lens. This is again one of those things that Nikon have done so well. They have made this trio of 26, 28 and 40mm lenses. They go so well with your crop sensor cameras. They go so well with your full frame cameras. The way it's, the way it fits in the full frame body is beautifully snug, small, tiny. This way, I don't know how heavy it is. It is feather light. It is very fast to focus. It is completely silent. It's good for video as well on a gimbal. Fantastic lens. It has it's like if you want to have one lens and not take the 35 and the 50, this is the lens. Great for video, great for travel, sharp, compact, f2, bright enough, very affordable, and you can really not get worried about this being a plastic mount bayonet lens, because I'm in India. It's a hot country, very humid. It doesn't create any problem. Definitely a lens that you should consider and keep. Now I'll move to one of my favorites. I'll go to the next zoom, and that is the 70-200. This lens, and I rarely use a 70-135 end of this lens. I actually don't. This lens beauty begins for me at 135-200. The kind of bokeh quality you get with this lens, the kind of compression and look that you get with this lens, the sharpness, the color rendition, the color throw is so rich. You'll be shocked that it's not a prime. It's not a prime. It's not too heavy. Beautifully handled. Fast focusing. This might as well be a sports lens. Fast focusing this lens is. This to 200 lens is a genius lens from Nikon. Okay, obviously all the lenses that I'm sharing with you, okay, the base level quality for the Nikon Z lenses is very high. I am talking about the lenses there which are some of the best in the system. So don't be surprised if I'm just going gaga over all of these lenses, because all of them are equally good. This is probably as good as the 50 and the 24 to 7 2.8. I won't say it's as sharp. I won't say the Tamron 35 1.4 competes with this. It doesn't. But otherwise, this is a top tier lens from Nikon. If you're looking for a zoom, fast zoom, I would say go for the 70 to 200, not a 24 to 70. This is special. Okay, a lot of people who has the latest f mount 70 to 200, they will probably not see merit in buying this lens in terms of image quality, but I think this is better, and I think this will be faster, more hassle free, more weather sealed, because you're not putting something in between the camera and the lens. Okay, thereafter, so a definite must buy. Quiet autofocusing. Now, my recent favorite lens is the 85 1.2. I don't know what to say about this. You've seen my videos on this lens. I'll do more. I've been shooting outside with this. I'm going to do a comparison between this and the Canon 85 1.2 very soon, along with the R5 and the Z8. This lens is a beast. This is an expensive lens, but this is one of the flagship lenses. I don't want to say a lot more about this. I think you know what this lens can do. So that's my favorite. But if you can't go for that because it's too expensive, at times too heavy for travel or many situations for long shooting scenarios, consider the 85 1.8s. Okay, the bokeh quality is so buttery smooth. It's incredible that it's a 1.8. You will forget that it's a 1.8. The quality of the bokeh is so smooth. Now, the autofocus with, again, like the 50 with the Z pre Z8 and Z9 bodies is not as good, but the Z8 and the Z9, it acts like a 1.2 lens even in low light. This 1.8 acts like a 1.2 even in low light. It is a very powerful lens. Aesthetically, this looks like a barrel. It doesn't look very interesting, but the lens is amazing. Okay, it's also well built, not very heavy. It's quite manageable inside a bag. So overall, if you're looking for an 85, for most people, this 85 1.8 is as good as the 85 1.2, as good as the 85 1.2, except that it's not as fast, and both sensors, as not fast in autofocus, as not as fast in light gathering capability, and of course will not give you that amount of bokeh. But other than that, this 85 1.8 is a brilliant lens. So these are my 5 lenses that are my favorite lenses and I have given you this thing that what I do is when I'm not sure about 35 or 50, I just carry the 40 with me. Yeah, when it's too hot or it's a long day of shooting and I don't think I can actually carry the 85 1.2 for a long time, I just opt for the 85 1.8. When I'm not sure about the focal length and I don't want to carry a lot of lenses, I just carry the 24 to 70 f4. It can shoot very well in low light as well, especially with your modern bodies. And what do we say about the 70-200? It's a special lens, so you reach out for this in special occasions. Now, if you like this video, subscribe. I want to reach 5,000 by the end of July 2022 in terms of number of subscriptions. Please subscribe and show some support to this channel. If you want to directly help me, there's a thanks button, and please share your comments. Tell me what lenses from this set you own, and if you have to like pick 1 or 2, which are those lenses for you? Am I missing something? Should I include something else in this that I think I like? A lot of people might say that why didn't you actually consider 105 2.8, the macro lens? That's again an amazing lens. It's a good all-around lens for many things. Many people might actually replace the 85 1.8 with that 105, but not me, because I want that 1.8 and not 2.8. So share your thoughts, share your views with me in the comment section. Let me know, let the conversation going. I'm going to see you very soon with another one.